We're shaking, folks. Back with another reaction, back with some more Soft Cell. And we're going back to their 1984 album, This Last Night in Sodom. And the next tune is Slave to This, though we are going to listen to, as Kim reminded me, to the last few seconds of Mr. Self-Destruct as it leads into Slave to This. So yeah, Slave to This, it sounds like someone who is engaged in a particular action or repetitive behavior that may be deleterious or destructive in some way, but which they cannot get away from. They are a slave to their own behavior. So yeah, ultimately it speaks perhaps to compulsion and, again, maybe proper addiction. I do wonder what this is, and it seems like, given the let's say dark and perhaps sordid lyrical subject matter of a number of their tunes over multiple albums, there's any number of realistic candidates that it might relate to. So yeah, I do wonder what this is, and indeed this could be some amalgamation of different behaviors or indulgences or perhaps vices. So let's find out what it actually is. This is Soft Cell. The track is Slave to This, though once again we are going to start with the final 10-15 seconds of Mr. Self-Destruct.
Take away another track. Me rockin' and ruin, burning up and beating up. Roaming streets have no respect for a life I'm gonna love. Who's loving you anyway? The smiles, the smiles. Poison like a good girl. You know, sick of seeing you those dumps.
Cacophonous, disorienting. He's a mad ship captain and he's taking us into uncharted waters. It's like that scene in Willy Wonka.
Still sticky from you, still
Sonic Stampede.
sticky from you, still sticky from you. Chico, Chico from Puerto Rico, you will transfer murder forever. You joy, makeup underfoot. Where will you take me when this is all over? Somewhere where I don't have to shiver in the shadows. So sick and tired, so sick and tired, so sick and tired.
Is this music like daring someone to have a bad trip? Which, if you were enslaved to something destructive
Overdied of slum culture, overdosing out.
Feels like there's still some withering social commentary.
For me, okay, I got so tired of beating a body language of being ended up. Take me, take me, take me, take me. feeling safe. Let's get high, that's right.
Title phrase.
Sick and tired. Tired of being sick and tired. Sick and tired. Sick and tired of being sick and tired of existence. It's Jesus. You've never known love until you have known the love of God. That's
Again, I imagine the studio executives listen to this realize. Are you too proper and safe? Let's do it. I'm fascinated and terrified. They finished it with a golem. Oh, that's incredible. I think it's brilliant. It's not a tune that, again, is like, oh, that's a dance floor burner that'll, get the people smiling and bobbing their head. It's like a terrifying, psychedelic, psychological journey. Being sick and tired of being sick and tired of being sick and tired, which that moment made me think of that network film from the 70s, that I Want You to Get Up Now, which has been sampled in like every techno and hardcore track in the history of mankind, if you didn't know that. But yeah, ultimately, it felt like there was a bit of that kind of sentiment. I'm so tired of being exploited and kicked around and taken advantage of everywhere, but maybe, it's also about being stuck in that cycle and that dynamic, and whether it's, I was thinking slave to this, maybe something more internal, maybe a vice, maybe a behavioral shortcoming which you can't get away from because for whatever reason you need that, it's your lifeblood. But it feels like maybe it's more external, and it's more being a slave to the system of modern life and the sort of like tracks and the like the holes that you're plugged into in society as you grow older, and your life is laid out before you, which it feels like that wouldn't be too far out of their way. The first track, I listened to them on the like beginning of the proper deep dive, first track of the non-stop erotic cabaret, was the frustration, and that feels like some of the themes in that track, which incidentally I still absolutely love that tune. It's not too far away from that, so it wouldn't surprise me if it in some ways relates to those ideas again. But a wicked tune, a cyclone of terrifying proportions, but one that's oddly compelling at the same time, like darkly hypnotic. Very intense track. Again, I like, I've been going through some groups, like there's some early OMD tunes where I've made the joke that the label people must have been like, okay, so how are we going to market this as a single? And this is one where I feel like, already knowing that they had some issues at the studio, like, the studio putting Tainted Love and Where Did Our Love Go onto a single, and they were trying to like, move away from maybe that, sort of like being pigeonholed for those hits that they had already sort of argued with the label. So thinking about that and then hearing this, it's like I just love to see the studio executive face and like, okay, let's play the demo that they've given us. It's like, wait, like this is insane. Well, like how do we even like unpack this? A really cool tune, and one that's quite audacious, which it feels like that's soft sell anyway, but soft sell at this point, and just giving the bits and pieces that I've heard and understand, it feels like a song that feels like it's off the rails is perhaps not inappropriate or not outside expectations. And the title of the album, This Last Night in Sodom, perhaps it's a more comprehensive concept than I realized. So ultimately looking forward to the rest of the album. Shout out to Kim once again, ever not only helpful enthusiastic, but ever my guide when it comes to the different deep dives that she's involved in terms of sharing the music, because it just allows me to like not have to stress to make sure like, oh, did I forget something, whatever. It's like I can just go back to the last video, see what Kim said, oh boom, there it is. So big shout out to you, massively appreciated. Do let me know what you think. I will see you next time. Peace.